Hi, Nick Osborne with the Integrated Functional Coaching Systems and the Personal Training Department Blueprint. I'm here with our next micro lesson. Now this one's going to be a little bit longer and it's a little bit more of a story, but it's something that recently happened to me that I wanted to share. Now I've had a client that looked like probably 6 months ago or so that she had a strain in her neck. We did some foam rolling, and then all of a sudden it looked like it crept down into the pec minor. Now, as any personal trainer would probably do at this time, we did a lot of foam rolling and some stretching and all that, but after 3 months of not getting any better, she took 2 weeks off. She went and got a massage therapist to work on her pretty extensively a couple times a week and really try to take care of it, but it really didn't seem like it was helping. The neck was still bugging her. What ended up being pec minor was inflamed. We couldn't figure out what it was, and there was a lot of problems. Now, the massage therapist was located in a chiropractic office. So the massage therapist happened to have a conversation after she was working with my client and to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor says, well, I think I know what's going on. So she described the symptoms. When my client went in and was working with the chiropractor, she unveiled a few more symptoms, and the chiropractor says, oh, I know what's going on. You have a misalignment of the atlas, and adjusted her. A lot of the symptoms started going away at this point, but then all of a sudden others started to come out. Now my client is in her mid-40s. She's very, very fit. She was a cheerleader in college at a major university when she was in her 20s. She knows her body, she knows it pretty well, but all of a sudden, after getting some adjustments, she started losing her balance more. And the chiropractor suggested to me that I started working a little bit more with her balance and stabilization during our workouts to get her brain used to the way that her head is now sitting and how everything's adjusted. Now, I have a lot of respect for chiropractors, acupuncturists, and massage therapists because I think they're really good at what they do, and they solve a lot of problems that most people don't need pills for or surgery for. But there's some things that's outside of their scope. So when they suggested this, I was kind of like, there's a problem because we already do all of this, but we slowed everything down and we started doing more rehab work with her to get her body really used to where she is in three-dimensional space, and according to the chiropractor, how her head is now sitting on her neck. But all of a sudden she came in one day, and every time she started to lean forward, she was losing her balance, and she's not used to that. So I said, you know, I think it's been long enough with this. I'm getting kind of frustrated, and she's made an off-the-cuff comment that I think I need to see a real doctor about this. Now, I know that's slamming on the chiropractor, and I don't think it was intended for that, but I think she meant I need to go see a surgeon, and I agreed with her and encouraged her. Now, again, I have a lot of respect for chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, physical therapists, and some of the holistic type of approaches, but sometimes you need to cut to the chase and go in. Now she went in and they scheduled a CT scan for her right away. She called me up, she was kind of nervous, and of course I said, you know, just go in. Worst case scenario, you find out it's nothing, or you find out it's something, but at least at the end of it, you're going to know. So she went in and found out that she had a growth in her head. Now, that's pretty scary for somebody, but it explained a lot of why she was losing her balance and getting nauseous all the time, because the growth was in her cerebellum, which is where we keep our balance and where our brain processes that type of information. So from the time that she got that diagnosis, from when we were working out, she just started losing her balance, to the time when she went in and was going to have surgery, she went from being able to move around and function in her life just a little bit dizzy here and there to not being able to get out of a chair. They went in and had surgery and found a ping pong size growth in her brain, removed it, and now she's on the road to recovery. Now 3 days after her surgery, she was up and walking, which is good. And then on the 5th day, she was walking up 5 flights of stairs without holding onto the handrail, which was a good sign to the doctors that she's ready to go home and she's not going to hurt herself. Now you might be asking, Nick, for the past couple of years, you've been giving us a lot of business advice, how to do sales, how to do marketing, things that we need to watch out for in our business to make it grow, and things that we need to do to make sure that we're on the path to getting the goals that we want out of our personal training department. What does this information have anything to do with business? Well, it's pretty simple. She called me after she got home and thanked me for encouraging her to go see a surgeon and getting her first scan. I said I felt bad for not recommending it earlier, but she goes, well, it's not really your diagnosis or your call. You can make a suggestion, but everybody else was discouraging me from getting it. Now, I hear stories, read stories, or see trainers in gyms all the time playing the role of either a doctor, physical therapist, or something else that they really shouldn't be doing. It'll get them sued and get their gym sued. And it's not because they're they have malice for the person. They're actually wanting to help the client, but they're wanting to help the client in a way that they know how to, and their recommendations. Now, as personal trainers, we know most of our clients go on pills or go get surgery or all these other things, usually as a knee-jerk response. Instead of just working hard to getting the results that they want, they go look for it out of a pill. And a lot of times we can solve a lot of problems by getting the clients to eat better, move more, and sit less. But because we have all kinds of research tools and systems to test people and what could be diagnosed people, most trainers use that, but they're not really qualified to not diagnose and make a prescription to make the client better. They're making suggestions that they're not really qualified to make. Now, I really respect a lot of people in the physical therapist world. Gray Cook, Stuart McGill, Gary Gray, among others. But I don't necessarily want to play them in the gym. I have a Kung Fu brother, his name is Dr. Mark Cheng, and he's an amazing doctor and an amazing person. And he's been studying under Gray Cook now for a number of years. And he is still amazed at the information he gets while working with Gray Cook. And it's new information, it's new insights, and it's new ways to look at the body and how it moves. And this guy's a doctor and has been studying under him and Pavel for a number of years. So this guy's got it going on, and he's still amazed at the information he gets at working with Gray Cook every day. So when we as personal trainers go to a Gray Cook seminar, watch his DVDs, we're not really qualified to make a diagnosis of what the screens are telling us most of the time. It should just be pointing out things that we need to watch or improve on. Now, I like the functional movement screen, and we use it in our system. We've modified it a little bit to make it easier on the trainer. But we don't want to diagnose and say that the hamstrings are tight or the lower back is weak or this side is this and that side is that. What we want to do is use it as a benchmark, and then we want to use proper training movements, ranges of motion, and movement patterns to increase the quality of movement of our client and help them get better. You want to make sure, if you're a personal trainer or if you're a manager or owner of a gym, that your trainers are not diagnosing and giving medical advice. Let the other professionals do that. Encourage people to make recommendations to or referrals to other professionals. Now, I saw a commercial recently, and I'm not really sure what it was for, but it was a violinist that walked into an orchestra practice late, and her doctor was sitting in her place playing horribly. And the tagline of the commercials went something like, don't let your doctor try to do your job, let them do theirs. So in other words, don't walk in and play the part of somebody else's doctor. That's their job. That's why they went to school. That's why they have insurance. That's their job. If it's something about getting them to move better, move more, eat better, that falls in our realm, okay? But if it's talking about a health issue, or we're talking about physical therapy, don't venture outside of our scope of practice. Now, why is this such great business advice for owners, managers, and even trainers? If you keep doing your job in your scope, trainers don't get sued. That was one of the fears that this chiropractor had from my client, that because he recommended that she didn't go in, he was going to be sued. Now, she's not that type of person, but there are those people out there. And if you get sued, the gym's going to get sued. And if you put the gym in danger, you probably won't be working there very long, okay? The other thing it's going to do is make you look like a professional. People will respect you for knowing your limitations and recommending somebody else. You should have a stable of doctors that you know that if someone says, I have a problem with my hip or knee and what we've been doing isn't making it better, that you can go to this orthopedic surgeon and recommend the client to that orthopedic surgeon. And you should have the reciprocal back. If the surgeon goes in and says, they don't really need to see me, they really don't even need physical therapy, that they just need X, Y, and Z, you should be the professional that they go to. So it goes back and forth. That's why this is the business advice that's really going to help the trainer and the gym be more successful. So I hope this makes sense. It's one of those things that I see this happening in gyms all the time, and even in my own gym, we've got to watch that our trainers and coaches are not making medical advice. I have a PhD physical therapist that works on my staff, and I make sure that if there's any problems with joints that isn't solved by correct movement patterns, that we refer them to her. And it's that simple, keeps everybody more professional, makes us look good to all of our members and their friends. So that's the lesson for today. Until our next lesson, go be a great fitness professional.